Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stretford review. This is my review of a crazy game really, one of our craziest games this season, and there's been a lot of crazy games this season. But yeah, we ended up with a 2-2 draw against Tottenham. It looked like it was going to be a win, then a draw, then a loss. We ended how the game started, all even. And yeah, one of our weirdest games this season, just in terms of the lineup, the way we played, some of the decisions Amr made, and also just kind of the craziness of the last 10 minutes of the game. First things first, one of our biggest surprises was the lineup. The lineup was a complete changeover. When I read the lineup, I was very confused to where everyone was going to be playing. It took me a minute to realise that Mazraoui was going to be one of the centre backs. I was looking at the team thinking he was going to be the wing back. But yeah, a lot of weird tweaks from Amram today. One of the big ones was Mbeumo, which I'll get onto. But we played a really strange team, and it was so close to paying off because we were 5 minutes away from winning the game, but it all kind of just went a bit crazy at the end. I think a 2-2 draw, I guess it's probably fair. I don't think Spurs were very good, but saying that, we only had 2 shots on target the whole game and they both went in, so it's not like we were creating lots of chances. I think we were comfortable in the game. We were comfortable when we got that 1-0 lead, but in terms of trying to kill the game, we kind of let the game pass us by, and I think Amram's substitutions really did cost us as well. But yeah, the big story from the lineup was Ahmad going into the front three instead of his usual wing-back role. Sesko was dropped, and we moved Ahmad into the front three on the right-hand side, Cunha through the middle, and Mbeumo on the left. It was the first time I can think of where we saw Mbeumo on the left, certainly for the full 90 minutes anyway. There's probably been some periods in games where he goes to the left-hand side for maybe 10-15 minutes to kind of test the waters and see if he can get at the right back a bit more if he was struggling against the opposing left back. But yeah, Mbeumo played left wing for the entire game, which I thought was very, very strange. Even when Cunha came off and Mount came on, he kept Mbeumo on the left-hand side and left Mount on the right, which I thought was so strange. I just think it was a weird substitution. First, when Sesko came on, I thought it was going to be the classic front three: Cunha left 10, and Mbeumo right 10, Sesko through the middle. But yeah, he just didn't go that way. Mbeumo stayed left hand side for the whole game, and Mbeumo did score from the left hand side, to be fair. A good ball in from Ahmad, Mbeumo header. 30 minutes into the game, we went 1-0 up. It was a weird goal. It was a nice header from Mbeumo, but I think the keeper definitely should have saved it. It was nowhere near the corner of the goal, or the top corner of the goal, to say the least. But Vicario just kind of stayed rooted to the spot and kind of just stood there and let it go in, which is a bit weird. But we got the goal. We went 1-0 up. The first half I was generally happy enough with. I thought a big problem for us throughout this game was how sloppy we were on the ball. We would win a duel and then take a bad touch to release the transition. We couldn't play the right pass at the right time. Some of our touches were heavy and we just couldn't really get many chances to run at Spurs' back line. So that was a bit frustrating, but at halftime, all in all, I was quite happy. The second half, I think we had a bit more joy in terms of getting possession in Spurs' half going against them, but we couldn't really create many clear-cut chances. There was a chance where Dorgu could have pulled a ball back for Ahmad on the penalty spot, but he just blazed it wildly over, which, I mean, that's what you get with Dorgu. Dorgu, he makes good runs and he works hard, but his quality with the final action is nowhere near good enough as of right now. So that was quite frustrating, but that's kind of what you get with Dorgu, unfortunately. He's just very kind of unpredictable going forward, and so is Dallo when he plays that left wing back role as well. So, and as comfortable as I was kind of throughout the second half with Spurs not posing that much of a threat, Lemens made a couple good saves. Well, they were saves you'd expect him to make. It was a shot straight at him, and also a header in the second half that he had to push behind. But other than that, we were comfortable enough. But as soon as Spurs got that goal, I was scared. Their equaliser, I don't think we did much wrong, to be perfectly honest. It was a nice spin and shot from Tell. I think Lemens probably had a good chance of saving it if it didn't take that nick off De Ligt's underside of his boot on his studs. But these things happen, like the goal we couldn't really do much about, to be perfectly fair. And then we nearly won the game. Mount played a lovely reverse pass into Sesko, and Sesko, instead of kind of cutting across Van de Ven, he kind of kept going with his run kind of through the heart of the defence, and it gave Van de Ven enough time to kind of hook his foot around and tackle it away. It was a great tackle. Sesko, I think he should have either taken it wide away from Van de Ven or kind of darted across him, but he didn't, and he ended up getting injured as well, which was just, yeah, the cherry on top. We have to wait and see how bad that injury is. And Sesko coming off with kind of 8-9 minutes to go meant we had to play the last 8 or 9 minutes with 10 men, because Amram had already used his 5 substitutes and Spurs had momentum at that point. They had just equalised. We just gone down to 10 men because of the injury. So all the momentum was with them. They had the home crowd as well. And to be honest, I did kind of feel like a Spurs second goal was inevitable. and they got it. Richarlison flicked it on. It was a nice little header, actually, to be fair. Lemens couldn't really do much again. It was a great header flicked into the corner. Ugarte with a terrible holding of the line. We were all trying to get out from a corner. He was so late getting out, and he kept Richarlison onside, which meant he could flick it past Lemens. And at that point, I thought it was game over. You know, it was a 92nd, 91st minute goal from Richarlison. We had 10 men. It looked like all hope was lost. And then in the 96th minute, Bruno whips in a corner. De Ligt was completely free at the back post. I don't know what Spurs were doing with their marking. And it was a great header into the near post. Vicario got a hand to it, but he could only push it into the top corner. And yeah, we got away with a 2-2 draw, which, after conceding that goal from Richarlison, it was a relief to get that point, especially before international break. Going into an international break with a defeat, there's nothing worse. So the fact we got that equaliser, it's not the result we wanted. 2 draws in a row isn't ideal, but 5 games unbeaten, I guess that's the positive way to look at it. The negative way to look at it is the fact that we had the game won in our hands with 5 minutes to go, and we kind of threw it away. And look, this team is still in development. It's not perfect. Today we weren't perfect either. I think actually most of our players didn't actually play that well today. I thought our defenders defended well enough, but I think our attackers and midfielders weren't that great. I thought Ahmad was decent. Casemiro was decent. I think Bruno and Cunha were very poor, especially for their standards. Cunha just couldn't get involved. And again, he wasn't playing in his favourite position. He was playing up front where he's not used to playing there, and he's not a natural striker. Bruno as well wasn't that good either. I felt Bruno's touch and passing was a bit off, but he did get the assist for the equaliser, so we'll give him that. Mbeumo was great, as usual. Got the goal, worked hard, had some nice touches, nice passes. So I'm happy with Mbeumo as always. Ahmad a bit further forward. I was happy enough with Ahmad. I think he kept the ball well. I think he was very good when we were winning the game. He knew the timing of the passes, when to speed up the tempo, when to slow down. He's very good at breaking the press as well, Ahmad. He's got such a low centre of gravity. You can really fire the ball into him, and he can spin his man and open up passing angles for our other attackers. So I thought he was impressive. But I just think we didn't move the needle enough to win the game, or kill the game. We were 1-0 up. We had lots of chances to progress the game and take control of the game, and we just didn't really do it. We kind of let the game pass us by. So I don't think we deserved to win. I'm annoyed that we didn't win, but I don't think we did enough to deserve to win the game. So 2-2 is probably a fair result. Some of Amram's subs I didn't really understand. Bringing on Ugarte in a game like that where it's so frantic and Spurs are so high pressing. Ugarte is the worst midfielder at the club for keeping the ball. He just has tunnel vision. He can't receive on the half turn and progress the ball forward as good as even Casemiro can, and Casemiro's not good at that at all. But Casemiro knows when to get rid of the ball in danger. Ugarte just runs into traffic all the time. So Ugarte coming on was a weird one. I understand Casemiro can't play full 90s all the time. That's completely fine. But I just don't rate Ugarte in games like this. Mainu would have been better for this, and I know Mainu was injured, but that wasn't a game that required legs in midfield, or that wasn't the substitution that required legs in midfield with 15-20 minutes to go. It required somebody to kind of control the tempo of the game, slow it down, beat Spurs high press, because Spurs are really pushing on and pushing us back, and we just needed someone to kind of calm the game down rather than someone to kind of run frantically all over the place. So the substitutions were a bit weird. Dalot for Dorgu. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like how many defensive subs he makes, and again, he had to bring on Yoro for Maguire because of an injury, so some of the subs he was forced into making. But the Ugarte one was quite weird. The Mount one was okay. I just don't understand why he kept Mbeumo on the left-hand side the whole game. I think your best attacker should play in his best position. And I think as good as Mbeumo did today, I would have loved to have seen him in his more natural position on the right-hand side. But look, these things happen. It's a learning curve. Hopefully we can push forward. We've got our international break now, so there might not be a video for a while. Maybe I'll do a kind of a separate video of the international break, something a bit more trivial and fun rather than just match previews and match reviews. I might do something else. But overall, guys, I wouldn't say I'm happy with the draw. I predicted 2-1 to us, 2-2. Look, I'm relieved we got a draw. I'll accept it. I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm just kind of like, okay, look, I think 2-2 was fair. At least we didn't lose to Spurs like we did last season, so I guess you could look at it as progress in some kind of way. Kind of a lot of mixed feelings about today's game, but we take the point. We move on. We have an international break now. We're 5 unbeaten. It could have been much worse. It looked like we were going to go into the international break with a loss, which is, there's nothing worse. So we managed to claw it back and get a 2-2 draw. Mixed feelings, guys, but we'll see where it takes us, and hopefully it's something to build on. And hopefully the Sesko injury isn't too serious. And I look forward to our next game in a few weeks' time, which I'll definitely be doing a preview for because it's quite a long way away. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.